Big Bill Anderson's Death Tours, back at you, and I am here at Davis Memorial Park Cemetery in Las Vegas. Right there's the airport right straight ahead of us. Planes coming in left and right, and I'm here to pay my respects to a beautiful lady who was murdered by her husband. She was only 50 years old. She was the state controller. She was in the world of politics here in Nevada. Very controversial at times. She was very headstrong, sometimes a little overly aggressive by a lot of people's standards. But nonetheless, she certainly did not deserve to be murdered by an egotistical sociopath husband. His name is Chaz Higgs. He is currently residing in prison. But he was an ER nurse in Reno, Nevada, where Kathy maintained a home there as well as a Las Vegas home. I'll show some pictures of that house at the end of this video. But in Reno, where she was living with her husband, one morning on July 8th, he said he found her in bed non-responsive, thought she had a heart attack, called 911, and while he was on the phone with 911, he had told the people there he had been trying to do CPR on her. And as an ER nurse, pretty much as a layperson, most people know you don't do CPR on a person when they're still laying in bed. You put them on a hard surface, the floor or whatever is the hard surface there. But she was still in bed when paramedics got there. They tried to revive her and was able to still get a pulse. So she was taken to the hospital, where 3 days later, on July 11th, 2006, Kathy Augustine passed away. And what happened was, Chaz Higgs was an ER nurse and a bit of a womanizer at the hospital, and he had one day told one of his fellow ER nurses, a lady, he told her that the best way to get rid of somebody is to shoot them up with some sucks. And what he was referring to was a drug called succinylcholine, which is a paralyzing drug used for intubations when they're putting a breathing tube down in your chest to stop you from thrashing around. Well, Chaz apparently told this nurse that the best way to rid someone is hit him with some sucks. And conveniently for him, 12 hours later, his beautiful wife, Kathy Marie Augustine, is laying near comatose in bed at home. And what the police later determined was she had succinylcholine in her system, because thanks to the paramedics for reviving her, and also thanks to the bright, super intelligent people there at the hospital in Reno where she was taken, they drew blood and urine from her and froze it to preserve it. Succinylcholine usually leaves the system rather rapidly, but in this case they were able to preserve some of the parts of that so that they were able to determine that she had in fact been shot in her buttocks with succinylcholine that Chaz Higgs stole from the ER. Now, what makes this story even stranger, as if this isn't strange enough, is the fact that Chaz Higgs met Kathy Augustine just 3 years earlier. And we're going to go for a little walk right here as I finish telling this story. So, Kathy was married to a gentleman named Chuck Augustine. He was a retired Delta Airlines pilot. And I just previously went by that house to check it out that they lived in together here when she first entered the world of politics and ended up buying a home in Reno. as well as maintaining a home here in Las Vegas. Well, how Kathy met Chaz Higgs was her then husband, Chuck Augustine, who rather coincidentally is just buried right across the road from Kathy. Well, on August 19th, 2003, Charles Chuck Augustine had a heart attack at his home, and coincidentally, the man that became his ER nurse here in Las Vegas was none other than Chaz Higgs. And during the convalescing of Charles Augustine, they thought he was getting better, and one day he suddenly succumbed to his heart attack in the hospital and passed away. 3 weeks later, Chaz Higgs and Kathy Augustine went to Hawaii and were married. Chuck Augustine had a $1 million life insurance policy. So family and friends, some, thought Kathy might be involved with Charles's premature death. He was 62 years old. So the sons, a few years later, after Chaz had been brought to being under arrest for Kathy's death, the sons were pretty intelligent. They figured out that maybe Charles Augustine was hit with some succinylcholine also. His body here was exhumed. They examined his body and the results were non-conclusive. So they could not rule out that Charles had been shot with succinylcholine or had not been. But there was not enough to bring charges onto Chaz Higgs. So I wanted to pay my respects here to Mr. Augustine, who died on August 19th, 2003. By all accounts, a pretty fine man. Just wanted to retire here in Las Vegas. A beautiful house. He had a beautiful wife. But the problem was an ER nurse maybe got in the way. And Chaz Higgs was convicted in Kathy Augustine's murder and sentenced to 20 years to life in prison here in Nevada. I personally hope Chaz never gets out. His carcass can rot in his cell and make me a very happy man. I've read a book called Poison Love about Kathy Augustine, and it's a very sad case of why this beautiful lady was taken from the world at 50 years of age by a sociopath named Chaz Higgs. I just wanted to pay my respects here in Las Vegas, and want to thank all my subscribers to Big Bill Anderson's Death Tours. Please like, subscribe. There'll be a lot more content coming in the near future. Just wanted to say adios, my friends. Have a great day. Kathy Augustine, rest in peace, my dear.